Hello there. Now is the right time to talk about different kind of machine learning algorithm. And when we talk about machine learning algorithms, the first one to start with is simple linear regression. What is regression? You should first understand the meaning of regression. If you look in English dictionary, the meaning of regression, the statistical meaning of regression is a measure of the relation between the mean value of one variable and corresponding values of other variable. So let's stick to this. It is a relation between mean value of one variable with the corresponding value of other variable. Let's move on. So in previous lectures, you have gone through data exploration and data pre-processing, and in that you have seen this graph of y versus x. It was a scattered plot. In the case of tips data set, the y was tips amount and x was total bill amount. The next step in machine learning algorithm is to predict a behavior based on these points on the graph. You have to predict what happened next. The way these points looks like it is going to be a linear regression. So if I draw a line, we might be able to predict the trend this whole thing is going to follow. The critical point here is to understand which line is the correct line. In this case, the line can be either this line, or it can be this line, or it can be this line, right? It's all a straight line. Any of this looks correct. How do we know which one is optimal, which one is the best line, which one is showing the trend the most optimal way? To find out that, there is something called mathematical least square. That means you take one of those lines and then you draw vertical lines from your trend line to the actual vectors. Like you draw this and then you calculate this difference and take a square of that difference for each of these points and take a total of that. The total of that square of the difference, whichever lines has the least total, that is called least square approximation. Whichever lines has least total is the correct line and the most optimal line. So that is how I describe in words. When it comes to machine learning, you have to formulate it, and this is the formula behind that. You have to find the coefficients. This b0 and b1 is what you have to find to draw the optimal line, and this is the mathematical formula to find that b0 and b1. In the description of this lecture, you will find the link wherein you can go and read the details behind how this mathematical formula was derived. But for this lecture, just let's understand, this is the mathematical formula you have to feed to your machine learning to be able to calculate the b0 and b1 coefficients and then draw the optimal line. How do we derive b1? It is sxy by sxx. What is sxy? Sxy is the multiplication of the difference between x-axis and y-axis of your trend line and actual point. And sxx is square of the difference of x value between the trend line and the actual point. And that is your b1. Once you get the b1, the b0 is easy. b0 is y minus b1 into x. You will understand this in more real terms when we will write a Python program with this formula, and we will use that Python program to draw the trend line for the same data set of total bill and tips amount. I will see you in next lecture.